G'day guys, welcome back to Supercoach Swordplay. This is a members only video, so shout outs for you guys. Thank you so much for all your support. I won't do a final count yet. We'll give another month till the end of the Supercoach season, and then we'll work out how much we've actually raised for Beyond Blue. Thank you very much to everyone. It really does mean a lot, guys. So let's get into it. So I did put out a little short today explaining that I'd put an article out, a very short one, on the Google Drive about some league strategy coming up for our Supercoach finals. But I know that not all the members have access to the drive. There's still a few that, for example, haven't contacted me back, stuff like that. So I thought if I put a members only video out, at least everyone will get the notification for the video anyway, in case you've missed out on the Google document. So there's really not a lot for me to talk about apart from just reading out some of the things I've already got on the screen here. Then I'll go to my team and show you a bit of strategy, what I'll do with my own personal team, for example. So 5 tips to help you win a Supercoach League final. The first one, it's your captains. Now, you know the first thing you got to do is obviously get onto Roscoe, get onto Janeth and the Great Pig as well from Dr. Supercoach. But my brothers at Third Man Up, they've got all the best data that you can get your hands on. Make sure you follow them. Check out the potty as well for some tips, but make sure you do go on X. That's the first thing you got to do. But I'm going to read from the screen, as I said, for the majority of this, but you need to look at your matchups. That's nothing new, but let's talk some league strategy. You need to gatekeep your captain if possible, and also try to predict who your opponent is going to have the captain on. Now, what I like to do is place a dummy VC or captain, and you need to be careful though. Remember, you must not forget to change it to who you actually want to do. And don't put on someone on a Thursday night, tonight for example, that you don't want on, because you can't change it. So I'll show you how I'm doing a little bit of a shifty in a minute there. But this is all to put off your opponent. So this won't allow them to simply be able to match. And I'll talk about this a little bit lower down the bottom in a sec. So if possible, what you want to do is place your VC on your opponent's captain. Look at the captain options that they have available. Make an educated guess about who they'll select as their VC and C. If you can manage to do that, then you'll be able to either choose to take, and this is assuming their VC doesn't go well, but you can choose to take their captain score, or you can choose to go somewhere else. I think that's going to be super important. So when it comes to the dummy VC, at the moment I've got Dawson into Brayshaw, and that's certainly not what I'm going to be doing. But just for now, just so my opponent's maybe a little bit confused, that's what I'm personally doing. But that's not going to be the way that I'm going. So that's it for the captains. Number 2 is, and we'll touch on captains a little bit down below as well, but number 2 is research your opponent. So what you need to do, and we've got, a couple of hours before the round starts, make sure that you take a screenshot or study your opponent's team, particularly in a really important league match or cashy, for example, before the round starts. Then, after you write it down, take a screenshot or whatever, when the game day launches, so after the first bounce tonight, check their team again and then compare it to the team that they had before, and you'll be able to work out if they've actually traded or not. So if you see 2 changes or even 3 changes, I doubt whether many people have 3 trades, let alone a boost in the bank, but some will. I guarantee you there will be some out there, and it's always your opponent, isn't it? That's how it feels in this game, particularly this year. But if that's the case, then that will give you a big advantage knowing that, okay, they can't make any further changes, so they can't bring another player in late in the round, for example. Unless they reverse a trade, you could do something like that. Maybe that's something I haven't thought of. Actually make trades. They think, whoa, who on earth you got here? Then reverse them and actually do the right ones. I haven't even got that written down, but that's really shifty as well. That's just sort of entered my mind there. But if you can do that, I think that that's going to be a big advantage to you. So research your opponent, look at that game after the Thursday night, then you can work out what changes they've got. Another nice tactic is to emergency players they have on field if possible. So the example I've got here is if your Oppo team owns Adam Chera at M8 with no rookie coverage, I'm talking about it might be a Boxall or someone like this that realistically you're not going to look to take their score. Put the E on him if you can. That way if he doesn't perform, put another player on field, e.g. your Tom McCarthy type. So again, if we look here, I'm looping Chera if possible, but look at this. It's late. So what we actually want to do is still loop Chera, but for example, chuck your Tom McCarthy there. So he's got this earlier game, and then according to whatever loops that you've got here, if any, you'll be able to do that. So, example in my team, and I'm assuming that Day Wicks won't be playing here, we'll have McCarthy as an emergency. If he scores well, then you simply bring Day Wicks on for Chera. That's a really easy one there. So try to be a little bit shifty with that, and try to emergency players that they will, 90% be actually running on field. The next one, do they own Tristan Sherry? Now, do I have this ready? A grade. Yeah, Benny. All right, so this in one of the leagues I'm in, great league as well, A grade. Don't even know how I got in the top 4, but I'm playing Benny from Supercoach Insider. Shout out to the great man. I love this bloke. But he's finished first here for, so got the double chance, which is nice. But we're going to use his team as a little bit of an example here. And this relates to Tristan Sherry. So, do they own Sherry? If you see him on the ruck line, I would be 90% sure, maybe even 95% sure, that your opponent's going to continue to hold him. So I doubt whether it makes much sense, as I've written here, holding Sherry for 2 weeks. We know that he's back after this week. So it makes no sense to me. You hold him for 2 weeks and then trade him the week before he's due back. It just, it doesn't make sense. So either people are just preserving that maybe one trade they've got left, or else they don't have any trades in the bank. And the majority of Sherry owners will be relying having only 22 on field. So you've got that extra advantage automatically, you would assume, with that 23rd player, that you can actually drop a bit of a dud score off. So if we go back to the game day here, we can see that Benny has a bit of a gap in our uniques. That is because when I scroll down here, he's still got Tristan Sherry. Now, I don't know what the great man's plans are, but I'm assuming that he's going to be holding Tristan Sherry, and he's got the double chance in this league. Don't know what leagues Benny's involved with, but I'm assuming that that's one little advantage that I'm getting. Hey, Benny may have a shifty move up his sleeve. I don't know. And as I said, I'll never 100% guarantee this, but that's just something to look out for as I was sort of writing down some of these notes. Leave it late. Leave your trades as late as you can. You don't want to give away any information unless you're like me and actually produce content. All my league opponents will probably know what I'll be doing, but this will also help you to potentially navigate a late out. Conserve a trade for late if you can. So the example I've got here, if it comes to the last couple of games, you're losing your matchup, no more uniques left, use your last trade to change that common to at least give you a chance if it's close enough. I'll highlight again this point again, it says here in tip number 4, and a disclaimer. If you're planning on having a few frothies and a bit of a big night before you need to make some trades or the lockout comes into place, then maybe just don't take on this advice about leaving things late. Lock them in nice and early so you can avoid a little bit of carnage, because winky face, never done that before myself. I absolutely have, and I've learnt my lesson there. So if I'm going out, I'll make sure I lock in my trades, particularly if I'm having a big one. Number 4, match or go different. So you need to look at your current uniques. You may actually want to trade into one of their uniques if you're planning, or if you're winning your game by a comfortable margin. For example, if you got 3 players left as uniques, and you're up by that 150 point margin, you could trade into one of their players, if that makes sense. So knowing that they need to make up, and this is purely an example, just throwing a number out there, 150 points, you've got 3 different uniques. You say to yourself, okay, well, who knows, one of my blokes could get injured, that'd be terrible, and then maybe they can make that up. Maybe you haven't got any uniques left, for example. There's a lot of different situations here, but you might want to actually trade into one of their players to give them less uniques so they can't actually close the gap. You obviously can't close the gap once all your uniques are done, unless you've got a common bad score drops out, and things can change, but that's the general advice I'm trying to give here. On the other hand, if you're losing your matchup and you're lacking options to make up the points, then you could trade one of your common players to provide your team with another point of difference. So you've both got your Caleb Daniel, for example. You're planning on just holding for now, but you think, nah, do you know what? I just want to get out of him. I'm just using him as an example. I don't know if he plays late, can't even remember, to be quite honest. But as an example, you could do that and you could actually trade him out, this if you're losing that matchup, to then give you another unique and put someone up against Daniel and try to gamble that he has a bit of a poor game. The bloke that you bring in actually has a ripper game. But you need to make moves to try to win league matchups because you can't rely on things once your uniques are done. So I want to keep this under 10 minutes. I think I'll be able to do that quite easily here. Number 5, you can see it here in capitals, in bold. It's underlined. There's exclamation marks there. Back your gut, guys. Please back your gut. At the end of the day, you can ask people, what do you think? What should I do? Put polls up. But nothing beats the gut. I learn it every year, but if there's been one year, guys, that's just kicked me in the nuts with backing your gut, well, not backing the gut, in my case, it's been this year. So from now on, particularly 2026, start of 2026, that is going to be such a huge focus for me. I'm going to back my gut. I have to do that. So I'm in, a couple of really fantastic leagues. I made both Nakashi leagues, one top 4, the other top 8, 5th on percentage, which was frustrating, but it is what it is. But good luck to Benny, for example, in this league this week. When it comes to, when I said before, you need to try to predict who they may have as their VC-C combo, I'm looking at this straight away. Well, if I look at the commons here, Gorn just really stands out playing West Coast. I think that's going to be nothing new. No other names really stand out in our commons, but when I go to the uniques here, there's a man by the name of Noah Anderson playing Richmond at home. So this man should, and I expect him, and I'm scared coming up against Noah this week, but he should go bananas. So I think looking at the fixture here, I think Benny's going to be over and done with probably Saturday afternoons here. So I think he's surely got to go Gorn into Noah Anderson if for some reason Gorn doesn't score well. And again, people may ask, what's Gorn got to score? What's the threshold? That's completely up to you. I can't answer that question for you. That's personal. But, generally speaking, mine's always been the 125 plus. What if it's 126, 124? Yeah, I don't know. It's tough, is it, from week to week? But, that's sort of who I'm predicting there. If I go back to that point I made above about predicting those VC-C combos that your opponent may be looking at. Now, there's no guarantee that he goes Noah Anderson there. You could go a number of other people, but that's probably what I'm thinking at the moment. And I've put a dummy there at the moment. Now, my dummy is, it's Jordan Dawson, so he plays tomorrow night, so need to make sure after tonight that I actually change that to the VC of choice. And then Brayshaw as well. I won't be going with Brayshaw. Maybe someone else on a Sunday, though. Just as a bit of a little Easter egg there for my league opponents this week. So that is it for now, guys. Again, thanks so much for signing up as members this year. Really do appreciate it. Good luck with your leagues this week. We do have the members leagues going on. We've got you've got your top leagues, don't you? Then your second league. So that's 16, 32 people, 32 members currently either for Divi 1 or Divi 2. Very, very exciting stuff. And I hope that's just giving you a little bit to think about at the very least. Again, it might not be groundbreaking type stuff, but hopefully I've shared a couple little tips that I've learnt along the way after playing for such a long time that has actually put me in good stead. I don't really care too much during the year for league matchups, but if you manage to get there, and like me, you're ranked in the top 2% and you're not looking at a fantastic rank, then why not focus on some leagues and really try to implement some of the small strategies that we've shared today. So that is it, guys. Thank you very much again. Good luck with all your super coaching this week, and we'll see you soon in the next one. Members chat coming up. Cannot wait. Send out links soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.